I don't know, John. I'm kind of liking that open a little bit. It's a little shorter than our other open. I'm kind of liking it, but it is what it is for Let 'Em Run here once again here on a beautiful Friday afternoon. John, happy hour once again, my friend. Good to see you. As always, what's happening, John? What's going on, brother?
Just a nice fall Friday. Looking at the Aqueduct. Not going to play Aqueduct today. Going to focus my attention on to tomorrow. And tomorrow's show should be really good because they got 4 turf races out of the last 5 races. So we're going to, dive into that sequence. But we're going to dive into one of those races specifically today, every horse. Tomorrow we're going to dive into 5 races to give, everybody some thoughts. But that's what I'm put my focus in for tomorrow's races.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they are still running on turf in the fall here on the Northeast. We know sooner or later that is going to come to an end, unfortunately, but there'll be more races to run on turf down south there at Gulfstream Park. Their championship meet will begin in December. It's kind of a quiet time in horse racing, a time to regroup, reorganize, refocus, etc. And that's the same thing we're doing here at Let 'Em Run. I am Fred York. My partner is John Costin. We've talked about how to continue to make this product better for our viewers, for our friends who take the time to watch us here on Capital Sports Network and who take the time to read our articles at Florida Sports Talk as we continue to grow, learn, and provide a quality product to our people who are watching us and listening to us. So we're going to do tomorrow again. We're going to look at the last 5 races at Aqueduct, which include the race we're going to cover today, which is the Jockey Club Oaks, a Grade 3 race for fillies. Long mile and 3/8 on a marathon turf there, and the 9th race, the Knickerbocker outer turf for 3-year-olds, a mile and an 1/8. That'll be tomorrow. And tomorrow looks like, John, I think it's going to be pretty much dry and fast there at firm and fast at up there at Aqueduct, if I'm not correct. Right, John?
Yeah, the weather, there's no signs of anything. So we're going to enjoy this turf racing while we can. And like you said, Fred, it is slowing down. After the Breeders' Cup, there's a little lull. But there are some big days coming up that we, are going to focus our attention to. I know the Clark Handicap Day is the day after Thanksgiving on that Friday, and that's a great late twilight evening card under the lights at Churchill. So that's,
that's great. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And then the weekend after, which I like to go to, is the Cigar Mile Day, where they have the Remsen and the Demoiselle, the 2-year-olds, stepping stone towards the Derby. So that'll be on December 6th. So maybe I'll make the trek up there to Aqueduct to watch that one last time before they actually demolish Aqueduct in the next year or two. So definitely want to get to, a Cigar Mile before they, take Aqueduct down. And then you got the day after Christmas, which is the Santa Anita opening day, and it's featuring the Grade 1 Malibu Stakes for, 7 furlong sprint. So they're like the 3 big days that everybody's focusing on in the next, calendar year, and the opening of Gulfstream, which is their championship meet, which will be coming up, very shortly. And that's great. Winter racing, you can count on the turf, all the poly you want, and a few dirt races mixed in.
For those who love the Tapeta, right, John? And it's kind of quiet too on the Kentucky Derby trail. I don't think there's any in the near future, any Kentucky Derby prep races coming up. I know there might be something after Thanksgiving, as you mentioned. Certainly once December kicks in, I believe the Derby, the prep race will continue to roll on and roll out. And I think that's going to create some excitement as we move into 2026 and look forward to the 2026 Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May, John. But right now we're going to go ahead and cover race 7 at Aqueduct tomorrow, a mile and 3/8, hopefully on the firm turf. The Jockey Club Oaks, again, a Grade 3 race, $350,000 for fillies. 3-year-olds, a couple familiar names in here. We'll get to them and talk about them. And then John and I will put up a couple plays that we like for the race tomorrow, and then see what you like for the race tomorrow, because that's where we're beginning to take our focus here at Let 'Em Run. We're going to begin to put together the horses that we like, why we like them, give you some advice, and have you use them as you see fit and give us some opportunity to see how that we can help our viewers get better at what we're doing. That's what we're doing here right now. We're going to go ahead, and John's going to lead us off and talk about this race at Aqueduct. John?
All right, we got a field of 8 all quality 3-year-old fillies looking to go, pretty much the furthest that they've ever gone, in their short racing careers. You got, a really nice field here, a couple up and comers, but it's definitely going to be a field between the 4 and the 7 are going to be the 2 standout favorites. And then we're going to go through each other horse to see, can we make a case for them to, jump up and, beat these 2 or maybe split them, or maybe they're just, not good enough to be here yet. So we're going to start off with number 1, Scythian, Bill Mott. It is a New York bred facing Open Company. He did face state breds his last 2. In the last race, if you watch the video, he was blocked, a couple of times in the stretch. But then when he got clear, he opened up 5 right past the wire. Gallop Out was way in front. He is a 3/4 sibling to Dancing Dean, who is a Grade 1 winner. He's a graded winner at 1 mile and 5/8 on the turf. So the family line, the bloodline is there to go this distance. Shouldn't be no problem. He's got to step it up a little on the speed figure scale. New York bred facing Open Company, but he should get a good trip, from the inside there when the running starts. He should already be in good position.
Alvarado's not riding him. I think that takes, in my opinion, a little bit away. I know that Jockey who's on him, Savachi, been an Aqueduct rider for a little while, but Alvarado, I think, is in Churchill, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's not here, and that's why Alvarado is not riding this horse. Again, got to step up in class. Race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, Grade 1 race back last year at Del Mar in November, and certainly was Alvarado was on him then. Was a little bit outclassed there. Got checked a little bit too in that race, but I think this horse surprises. Morning line's only 8-1. Again, it's only been at this distance, not even at this distance. It's going to be the longest distance. Many of the horses are going to be at the longest distance of their young careers they've ever run. Not sure. Again, this horse might be a horse to look at. It's third off the layoff, working out pretty good for the return. Again, can never take anything away from Bill Mott. If he's putting a horse here, he's got him ready to run, John. So I'm going to move on to the number 2 horse here for a good time. Morning line 10-1, being ridden by Johnny Velasquez, trained by Brendan Walsh. This horse, certainly in terms of quality, has been in the money 8 out of 10 times that this horse has run. Last 3 races were in Grade 3 races. Did not disgrace himself or herself. The races were a lot shorter. Again, another horse has not raced at this exact distance of 1 mile and 3/8, but I'm not so sure class-wise and speed figure-wise, this horse has a chance on those ends, John. It worked out twice, last 2 times, pretty good workout. So it's been off since September. Last race was at Kentucky Downs, so you can always kind of think about that being a tough opportunity for a horse to prep for a race like this, but we'll see how that goes, John.
Yeah, this horse, got to really, step it up. Been in the Grade 3s the last couple, but has been really no match for Fionn. The 2 times they ran, Fionn just, there was no excuses for the 2, here for a good time, and just, couldn't run with that one when it counted. So, to turn the tables on Fionn, really got to step up, and give him a little shot for, the under the board hitter. And he's like, you said 8 times in a row he's hit the board. So maybe a good reverse try key. But in an 8-horse field, like we always talk about these reverse try keys, yeah, you can put the price in there, but what if the 2 favorites run 1-2 and this one runs his third like he always does? Yeah. There's no value. So not a good race with 8 horses and 2 big favorites, to try something like that, even though this one would fit that mold as somebody that could be used underneath. So maybe underneath for a minor share, second or third, at best I could see. Moving on to number 3, Miguel Clement, 15-1 is very juicy. This is a very versatile horse. He's shown before that he could come, from way out of it. And then in the last couple of races, he's been more tactical. He's even led the whole way, at even money last time. Definitely a class hike for sure. He hasn't faced nowhere near this type of competition, but his speed figures every single race, getting better. But he did plateau last time where he followed an 81 buyer with an 80 back-to-back. Maybe that's, where he's going to bottom out. But he did race the distance the last 2 times. just, really has to step up in order to, make an impact here. But he is an improving, late developing 3-year-old from Miguel Clement.
Yeah, I like this horse a lot. The couple of things I like about, obviously, trainer Miguel Clement does a great job with horses on the turf. This horse, John, is actually the only horse in the field who's actually run at exactly 1 3/8 miles, as you mentioned the last 2 times out. Again, class-wise, yes, definitely got to take a big jump up. I love the fact that we got Manny Franco on this horse. Again, he has some tactical ability, but he also has some speed in a race that kind of looks like it's devoid of speed in terms of a true front runner. I don't think there is one, but I think this horse has a good chance to be up front when the gates open, particularly because you got aggressive Manny Franco on him. He's raced twice at this distance, as you mentioned, the last 2 times, won twice at Aqueduct before, so has a little familiarity. Just the big change in terms of what I'm trying to figure out is the class. But I like that horse at a price to possibly sneak in and give you a little opportunity to get some value. So as John mentioned, the next horse, the number 4, Fion, the class of the field, 2-1 morning line, being ridden by Flavien Prat. You can just stop right there if you'd like. He's hitting at 40% currently at Aqueduct, trained by Brad Cox. Interesting taking the blinkers off for the very first time, John. And when we get your comments on that, I know you have thoughts about when blinkers come on and they come off, but taking the blinkers off for the very first time, and Brad Cox does that, and he hits it 32%. Well, that's obviously a reason why he's doing it. This horse has been in some seriously classy races every time he runs or she runs out there. So again, 2-1. This horse is a horse you have to use depending on what kind of bets you're making. But John, I think you might agree with some of that.
Yeah, pretty much all of it. I mean, Prat, Cox, that's you can stop right there, like you said. Just gave him too much to do. Gave her too much to do last time in the QE2 race at Keeneland. That was sitting dead last in that field. And when the running started, she passed a couple of them, but not against those, the top 3 that were on the lead and controlling things and had better trips than her. So I would assume that Pratt's going to try to keep her a little closer. And then the blinkers off, I don't have an answer. I've been, trying to listen around to see what the answer, but Brad Cox knows better than any of us handicapping this race that, but usually, they put, the blinkers off to slow down, some of the speed, and you want to slow this horse down even more. So I'm not sure about that, but, was one of the horses to defeat Nitrogen on the grass when Nitrogen won 6 out of 7. So, definitely this one is the class of the field and just had too much to do the race setup last time. But I'm afraid the race setup might be very similar here unless Prat shows a little bit more, trying to get involved. But what if he shows that early, of trying to get involved and it takes away that big closing kick that this horse has? So it's really a strategy decision, and I would probably trust Prat and Cox to come up with the right combination of what they're going to try to do. So,
sure.
This horse will come running at the end. Moving on, number 5, Evershed, definitely lightly raced, up and comer. Gave Laurelin all she could handle 2 back in the Saratoga Oaks Invitational, but Laurelin held her at bay, and this one ran a great first time stepping into Grade 2 company. And then last time, really disappointing effort. There was really no excuse to blow that, 114 and change, 138 and 3, and then, getting passed as the even money favorite. But it was a bog, that was really a soft turf
super
horse.
Super soft.
So you could throw that out maybe like we talked in the Breeders' Cup, and that's how we, caught that Ballantine. If you're willing to throw out the one bad race on that off turf and forgive it, boom, you got a $40 winner. So here you go. If you're willing to forgive that Colonial effort, even though it was only second by, a little bit, it wasn't really disappointing, but she did get beat. Definitely an improving 3-year-old for Arnaud Delacour. Could definitely see this one, being in the top 3 for sure, if not, a win candidate, if you're going to look past the other 2.
I agree. I think one of the big things about this horse is that Dylan Davis getting back on, who ran with this horse 2 back, as you mentioned, in the Grade 2 race on firm turf. kept up with the front runners who were putting up some pretty good fractions in that race, and did not miss a beat, and just missed, like you said, getting second to Laurelin, obviously the big favorite here. And I think that's a plus. Beyer Speedford put up a 91. Beyer Speedford, that fits pretty well with the competitiveness, the competition of the horses in this race. Again, don't like to always put a fork in there when you hear about this, but a good trainer, Arnaud Delacour, is 0 for 15 in graded stakes races, somewhat of a negative in terms of trying to use them on top. Again, sooner or later, everybody's going to break their maiden, so to speak, and I think that could happen. But I like the horse. I think the horse has a good chance. 5-1 again, morning line. I don't think I think that's a reflection of the morning line makers thinking this horse has a pretty good chance, and I can't deny that either. So
look at that string of workouts. Look at a string of workouts for that horse coming back since September 6th. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Hasn't missed a beat, ready to go. And I think you're right. I think this horse could have a pretty good chance, and I love the fact Dylan Davis is back on him. The horse has speed. He's also won from stalking position, so Dylan Davis probably has both of those options here, depending on how things roll out. So, a horse to keep your eye on at 5-1, Evershed, Ireland bred. Number 6 horse, Don't Jinx It. The second horse in here, trained by Miguel Clement. Beaten favorite last out at Delaware, again on a bog and soft course there. Didn't run very well. I think the horse is up against the class-wise. Miguel Clement puts this Jockey Rodriguez on him. They hit pretty well at 31%. I'm just not sure that the horse probably going to be forwardly placed by this jockey who's been on him before. 4-back did the same thing in a much lower level race. Was his maiden race when he broke his maiden on the turf in Delaware. So I think if anything, John, I think this horse can be a pace factor. Not sure much else.
I agree there. I don't see much of a chance for this horse hanging around class wise, speed buyer wise. But it will be forwardly placed, and it's interesting. Miguel Clement, enters him here. That maybe puts him in as go to the lead and see how the turf's playing. Maybe if we go wire to wire. If not, we got the other horse that's going to be sitting a better trip. National Archive sitting in there, third, fourth, fifth behind them. So probably this horse will have to go to have any chance, and I don't see it sticking around. Moving on to the favorite here, Laurelin. Basically, almost undefeated, did nothing wrong her whole entire life. Reeled off, 5 in a row. Grand Motion brought this horse along very slowly and strategically, not throwing this horse to the wolves, not throwing into the big races, but just step up, increasing in distance, step up, increase distance. And if you watch the replay of the last race, the QE2, sat the normal trip that she always did. But Lush Lips sat right off the pace setter, Opulent Restraint. She got the perfect trip. Lush Lips ran the race of her life. If you look at her past performances, that was her best performance ever by far. And at the very end, Laurelin was actually getting to her, at the end. And then when he hit the wire, got even with her and, good gallop out. So the distance should not be a, problem for, Laurelin in that. And I expect her to, get a good trip and, kick home against some of the speed in here that wasn't the quality of a Lush Lips or an Opulent Restraint that, she has to run down on the front end.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all either because, Mike wants a pork roll, egg, and cheese. I don't blame him for wanting the pork roll, egg, and cheese.
I'll take one too. Case for the taste.
Case for the taste. Our good friend Tommy Dawn, one of our sponsors, along with the vape shop. But Mike, if you can get a pork roll, egg, and cheese, I highly recommend it on an Italian People's Bakery roll. Little ketchup, and you'll do yourself really good with that, Mike. Thanks for checking in, brother. Yeah, John, I 100% agree. Laurelin, Kendra Caramusha knows this horse extremely well. Horse is also 3 for 3 at Aqueduct. Clearly has the class of the field. Beyer Speed figures. You mentioned everything getting better and better. Grand Motion, one of the best with young horses who develop into very good horses. One of my favorite horses, Grand Motion trained, John, was Animal Kingdom. Loved that horse, and Grand Motion took that horse and just made him one of the best. So can't disagree with that. The last horse is Unmerited Favor, ridden by Christopher Elliott and trained by Kenny McPeak. So, again, I think another horse, 15-1 morning line, broke the maiden two back. Again, at Kentucky Downs, very tricky track to win at with Jose Ortiz aboard. Big field with 11 horses, but again, it was a maiden race at Kentucky Downs at 1.16 miles. Next race, he came out of Keeneland, won again in an allowance race, a nice little allowance race. It wasn't the favorite in that race, but came up with a big rush at the end and made a big run. So interesting horse to look at. Not sure exactly where the horse fits in terms of how the horse will finish in the race, but don't think it's going to be up there with some of the ones we mentioned earlier, including the two favorites, John.
Yeah, this is definitely a late developing, 3-year-old for McPeak. Christopher Elliott rides a lot of his horses, so not concerned about the jockey there. Not
Sure.
a problem. And to win that Kentucky Downs race, 1 mile and 5/16, that's basically like winning a 2-mile race anywhere else. So the distance ain't a problem. Came back out of that race and went right facing winners at Keeneland for 120,000 allowance. Big full field, had an outside post, and if you watch the replay of that race, just mowed them all down and went by them like they were all standing still. And to win a turf race like that by 2 lengths, pretty impressive. So getting better and better, improving 3-year-old quickly, getting to this stage. So definitely worth a shot throwing him into the fire here before the end of the year to see, really what we got. And definitely one that could, upset the apple cart and maybe, split these, two favorites. To win end, it'd be, really a tall task. But if you're ever going to get a price on that horse, this is the time to do it, because if she wins this race, you're not going to get that price on her ever again. How much you believe in, did she grow up in time and, McPeak. So definitely want to keep an eye on for, if not this race, for the future.
1,000% agree with that. Again, we gave you our opinions on all the horses in this extremely competitive, very good race. I, for one, John, am extremely looking forward to see it tomorrow. John and I put together a couple little tickets for you to check out. Of course, what's most important is you taking what we think and putting your own mix in together, mix it up, come up with what you like. But John, you did put together a little a little ticket here. If you want to comment on your tri-part wheel ticket here.
Yeah, it's tough to get around the two favorites class-wise, and then where they're at in their careers versus the younger ones that are trying to, get to that level. So I just think Laura Lynn is going to get the jump on Fionn, have the better trip, be closer to the pace, which is not going to be suicidal. She should make her patented run that won her first 5 races of her life. And I can see Fionn, if she's way back, she closes up there, and I'm hoping one of these up-and-comers can split the two big favorites and make it some value in the race, where I started to try to pick like 2 or 3 horses that could split it. And I found the case for every one of them that could maybe jump up there and run second. So it was tough not to hit the all button for that. It's only a $12 ticket for $2. Maybe we get a, nice, 15, 18 to 1 run second, split the favorites, and you get a $90 try or something like that. Fionn, if Pratt is a little bit more, aggressive and, gets maybe up there, maybe he doesn't have that closing kick, and then somebody passes him late for second. If he winds up way in the back and he doesn't get there for second, run up there for third, similar to what he did last time and ran up there for fourth. And we don't have the same quality of horses in front of him. So hoping one of these can split the two favorites and try to make value out of this race with, a 6-5 and a 2-1 shot.
Yeah, again, it's a good ticket, a value ticket to play. I like the way you described it. I am going to play a little bit of a different ticket. I put a little bit of a using the 7 as the key horse in the race, but I put the 7 for a $10 key exactor, the 7 over the 3, 4, 5. I talked about the 3 already. National Archive, 15 to 1. I think this horse certainly can make a case for holding on for perhaps getting that place position, and at that price. I think you can get some value with that horse. Obviously, I'm not leaving Fionn out. That may allow us to, just get your ticket back in terms of what it costs you. It's a $30 ticket. if this race comes in 7-4. Now, again, the other horse that I use is the 5 Evershed. Again, 5-1. I think that horse's price may go up by the time the race goes off. I think most of the horses, other than the 4 and the 7, the price is going to go up at post time. But I think probably going to be, John, kind of a blanket finish. I think these horses are going to all be running for the wire at the end. And I just think the 7 Laurelin is too good of a horse, has done that in the past before, and might get ahead by a length, and maybe a length and a quarter, something like that by the time they get to the finish line. And it's going to be a matter of who's going to finish in second and third behind these horses. And that's kind of how I put my ticket together. So, hey, 2 choices, 2 tickets. But most important, you guys make sure you use your thoughts on how to do this. And that's what we're trying to work on here, as we will tomorrow. John and I will get together once again at 12:30 on Capital Sports Network YouTube. So be sure to tune in. We will talk about each of these races in the sequence, the Let 'em Run late race roundup, we're calling it, late race review, whatever you want to call it. We're going to check out those last 5 races at Aqueduct tomorrow, break them down, talk about it, think about some other bets we may want to discuss, John. Any final thoughts, John, on either tomorrow or what we talked about today, my friend?
Just looking at the 2 tickets that we put up there, like we always talk, route order. What is our route order for this race, Fred? It's pretty easy here. What's our route order that we're cheering for this podcast?
I think, again, it's pretty high. I'm looking at 7-3
here.
7-3 would be, I guess, our best route order, if I'm not mistaken.
7-3-4.
Well, for me, 7-3-4 would work out perfect. Yeah.
My best scenario and your best scenario, 7-3-4.
Okay. Well, let's,
best,
as you said,
my best try.
Yeah. Well, let's look for that. That'll be a great route order, and we'll be rooting for that tomorrow when we get to this race tomorrow, John. I love it when we use our dictionary of terms that we're coming up with. The route order is one of them. We got the chit chat cha-ching. That's another area we're going to get into. We'll talk about that as we go along. Chaos. Yes. Well, I think we got to put that together, John. I think we really have to put that dictionary together. That's something else I'll work on with some time. But I look forward to talking tomorrow. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave comments while we're here live. We'll be glad to ask them. Other than if you have any sandwich suggestions, we certainly don't mind any sandwich suggestions that people have. That was good, Mike. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Be sure to check us out tomorrow at 12:30 on Capital Sports Network. As always, let 'em run, John. Correct?
Let 'em run, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Thank you, John. Have a good day.